Good afternoon. So let me put in my recorder. All right, so I had to reset this, record that. So welcome everyone. And let me see if my share screen is working properly. Yeah, it is. Okay. So good afternoon, Kelly. How are you doing? Ah, you're on mute.
I'm good, thank you.
Hi.
Good afternoon. So today we're going to be covering, so let me put in the record. All right, it's counting down. All right, so now we're being recorded. So I just want to say good afternoon to everyone. So today we're not going to be going over any kind of quiz prep. We're going to be going over different kinds of writing for nurses. So if you decide to go on and like take an academic career in nursing, and basically there's also a shortage of nursing instructors. Many schools need nursing because basically schools don't pay enough. Nurses actually make more money being nurses or being travel nurses than being nursing instructors. But a lot of nurses who retire or get burnt out want to do, or as a side gig can pursue teaching or nursing instructors. So if you at least get your BA or your master's in nursing, you can also pursue a nursing career in teaching nursing. Anybody here interested in teaching nursing or being a nursing instructor?
Me.
Sarah, are you interested in being a nursing instructor?
I mean, not at the moment, but I could maybe see myself doing it years down the road.
It's in the future. It's like you get to a certain age, you might think, well, you know what? I may not want to put in as many hours at the hospital like I used to. So maybe I can be a nursing instructor. Usually it's older people who, and a lot of nurses, some nurses take a break. Let's say you do a sabbatical from your regular nursing job. I don't know if you have a sabbatical, but let's say you want to take a break or as a side gig. Either way, young people think of it as a side gig because they have the energy to just pile on more and more and more. Older people tend to think, oh, I think I'm just going to take a break from doing this and I'm going to pivot to a slightly different career that might be more, I have more time to be with family. Now that's how older people think. They want more time to relax. There's more to life than just work, and going up the social ladder. That sort of thing. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to go over the different kinds of academic writing that you will encounter if you become a nursing instructor. Now, I can tell you that many schools want you, and there's the shortage is because nursing is still, to be an actual nurse pays a lot more than actually being an instructor. So you guys, if you become instructor, you guys get to make more than if I am an instructor because they need you more. And also another, on top of that, people who want to teach artificial intelligence, they get paid even more. I mean, they get paid top dollar. So if you know anything about artificial intelligence and you want to be an instructor in that field, oh my God, they get paid like that's the top. And then you guys are a little bit below that, and me in the English department, we're little minions to everybody else. So nobody thinks it's that important to read and write English really well. Otherwise, how are you going to communicate to everybody? But you know, that's basically today's introduction. How are you guys doing?
So far, good.
Good. So you younger people, you could think of nursing instruction as part of your side gig or as the future when you get tired of nursing. So here is, and I took all of this from a nursing, this is the whole book was written by a nurse. And what happened was that this particular nurse decided, okay, she wants to do a nursing instruction as a side gig. So you got to get, I think, especially if you go for your master's, okay, that makes you, or your PhD, but usually a master's, which for you guys, a nursing practitioner, I believe, is a master's level. Yeah, I had to learn that. I had no idea when I first started teaching this nursing, I had no idea NP and CN and LVN. I was talking to the nurse at my physical, and then she just laughed. Anyway, so today, yeah, everybody knows this. So today I'm going to go over academic writing in nursing. So let me start from the beginning. Let's see if this works. New beginning, from beginning. All right, do you have any questions so far? Any comments? No? Okay, so I will start. So in order to understand the presentation, you need to study my different kinds of essays PowerPoint and my ethos, pathos, and logos PowerPoint. So that builds upon, this presentation builds upon that PowerPoint. And so here you've got many different kinds of essays that you would be writing if you pursue an academic career. Or some of them you've already done. Narrative essay, you write about an essay about your life. So that we did here. Descriptive essay, you use descriptions as examples for your essay. So that's illustrative example essay. We did that a little bit in the week 3 forum. Classification essay is a very common essay you're going to write when you categorize groups, when you categorize topics, when you categorize anything. So an example of classification essay is that couch potatoes and foreign students, French students, and Spanish students all make up the different kinds of students who go to UCLA. Then you're going to write foreign students, French students, and each body paragraph will be about different kinds of students. At Fortis College, you've got people, HVAC students, dental hygiene students, nursing students. So when you classify something into groups, and when you write a science paper, you will be classifying, and if you would say the parts of the body include A, B, and C. So that's classification essay. Comparison contrast essays, when you compare two things. So we're going to write that in the second half of this class, where we're going to compare two things. You can either write a comparison contrast essay using the block method or using the alternate method. That I will go over in a later video. Process essay is a how-to essay, such as how to get rich, how to stay on the diet, how to do whatever treatment. So you would say the 3 steps to getting rich: step A, step B, step C. And so when we write a process essay, we are describing a process. Cause and effect. First, you want to write about the causes in one essay, then you write about the effects in the other essay. The causes of COVID-19 would be cause 1, cause 2, cause 3. That's one essay. The effects of COVID-19, long COVID, would be effect 1, effect 2, effect 3. An argumentative persuasive essay, you'll be writing this in your week 9 forum, is an essay that convinces the reader of your point of view. And so a persuasive essay would be like, Los Angeles is a great place to live because of reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. Now, a persuasive essay. Now, the difference between a persuasive and an argumentative essay is that in an argumentative essay, you also add in the counter argument paragraph and the rebuttal paragraph. In other words, in a counter argument paragraph, you write about what the other side thinks, and then you switch it to the rebuttal and you rebut what the other side says. And then instead of having a 5-paragraph essay structure, you have a 7-paragraph essay structure. And so that means that when you address both sides of an issue, then your persuasive essay or your argumentative essay becomes objective. And when you are able to rebut the other side, then you're able to have a stronger argument. A definition essay is when you define a term. Love can be defined as definition A, definition B, definition C. So love means self-sacrifice, kindness, and paying it forward. And so that would be a definition essay. An expository essay simply talks about a topic. And so you would say that climate change is a serious problem in the United States or around the world. Anything in which you talk about a topic and you're informing the reader about a difficult topic. So is everybody clear? These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rhetorical main styles of essays that you will see in English. And
Okay.
these are also these are all the different ways in which you can write thesis statements. Okay, now what was your
My question. So doesn't matter the essay, you need to have at least 3 reasons So
All
the
of them-
introduction, you have
All
three.
of them, yes. When you write in any of these essays, you have to have an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. So all of these essays follow the 5-paragraph essay structure. They just have different rhetoric and do it differently. All of them
Yeah.
have a thesis statement. That's the last sentence of the first paragraph and the first sentence of the last paragraph. So that does not change. The only thing that changes
Okay.
is that you're writing about yourself, or you're doing a descriptive essay. So you would say an example essay, which, and a lot of these different styles overlap. A descriptive essay could also be a persuasive essay. So if I said Los Angeles is a great place to live, that topic is an example essay, and it is also an argumentative and persuasive essay. So they're not mutually exclusive, because then also comparison contrast. If I say Los Angeles is a better place to live than New York, that's also a persuasive argumentative essay. So yes, they do overlap. Is that yes? All
Yes,
right.
and one more question. Is there a minimum? Like, so 3 is the minimum, but can I have put more points to defend
Oh,
mine?
yeah, you can write a book. You could have 1,000 pages. But
Okay.
if I write a book, then the introduction chapter, which could be, I don't know, 15,000 paragraphs, that's your introduction. Then the last sentence of your first chapter would be your thesis statement. And then chapter 1 would be whatever your first topic was in your thesis statement. Chapter 2 would be whatever is the second whatever. So that sort of thing. So basically, instead of having 3 reasons, you're going to have 3 chapters. Each chapter could have 500 pages if you want. So yes, that's how we go beyond the 5-paragraph essay structure. Then your conclusions paragraph will become your conclusion chapter. Do you understand how that works?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
That would be a long essay.
That would be that's a PhD dissertation. Okay, that's a PhD dissertation. That is a master's paper. So my master's paper came out to 100 pages, and then my references came out to 88 pages. Yeah. So a PhD paper would be like 400 pages, at least at UCLA. So yeah, but you still have the same structure of introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. Anything you write in English has that structure, even your email. The only difference is your introduction would be 1 sentence, your body paragraphs, 1 sentence, 1 sentence, 1 sentence for each paragraph, and then your conclusion paragraph might be 1 sentence. And that's even long for an email. That looks more like a business letter or something like that. So everything follows introduction, body, and conclusion, no matter what you write. It's just a style, the different kind of style, and the purpose and the occasion of the writing. Any other questions?
I have one.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, the narrative essay example, that's what we wrote this last week.
Yeah, and when you write the narrative essay, this would apply for people who are writing the narrative essay as a college essay. Like, let's say you want to apply to nursing school, your master's, you want to apply for a PhD, then you would write a narrative essay. It wouldn't be, you would write about yourself, you would write about your accomplishments, similar to a cover letter, because a narrative essay actually falls under cover letter. For me, teaching philosophy letter, if you're going to put that with your resume. So that would be a combination of, does that answer your question?
I didn't get to the question yet.
Oh.
The narrative essay, like even in your example, it says I became a nurse because reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. So that's first person. So I wrote my essay in first person.
Yeah, okay.
But you came back and said it needs to be third person.
I know. Everyone got really confused about that. Technically, the narrative essay, you can say, I became a nurse because. The reason why I had everybody do third person case is because people are so not used to using third person case. We are so used to I because of social media. I want my students to learn to get comfortable in using third person case. And in this class, you're only doing 2 different kinds of essays. You're only doing a narrative essay and comparison contrast essay. So what I'm trying to do is slam together for you to learn third-person case so that when you write an academic research paper, you feel comfortable writing third-person case. So that's the only reason. So technically, in a narrative essay, you're supposed to use first-person case. I'm only doing this as a writing exercise.
But
So
we
that
didn't-
when
I
you
didn't
write
know that. And I got,
Yeah, neither did I.
and I got dinged
yeah,
on my grade.
I know. I probably should have put that into all of my I came up with that recently. I thought to myself, all of my students, because in my others class, the students are having such a hard time writing their research paper because your second paper is going to be a research. No, that's your week 9 forum is going to be a research paper. And then students are still going, I all over the place. So the reason why I did this is because I just want you to get comfortable in writing. And that's why I didn't take that much points off, only 5 points. So it's not, or 4 points. I think it's only 2 points for your final draft. That's why I didn't take that many points off, because basically first person case is correct. But I want all of you to know how to write in third person case so that when you write your week 9 forum, and then later when you write your research paper, you know how to write a case study. In other words, if Kelly wants to write about how Sarah's not feeling very good, she's not going to say, I. In other words, I just want you to get comfortable using third person case and think of it as a writing exercise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just wish we would have known ahead of time before.
I know. But it's only 5 points. And oh yeah, you're right. Then you would have saved yourself the trouble of running. You know what? I think I'm going to have to remember to add that into a week 1 lesson, like right after the quiz. When I give the quiz prep, it's actually a good idea. I'm going to remember that as the Kelly idea. I actually link it to a student. That helps me remember, oh, it's the Kelly idea. Every semester, it's going to be the Kelly idea. So you just got named after something.
All right.
It's like the Susan idea was teaching about parallelism. Susan Green in another class. What's parallelism? I don't understand. Then she was asking everyone else in the forum, what's parallelism? So then the parallelism video was born. So forever I remember that student's name. So that means your name gets immortalized.
All right. In
Anyway.
the discussion post that we're going to be writing, the way you replied like to my essay in the discussion board, is that how we're going to reply to 2 others when we're doing the critiques?
Well, yes and no. You can write about something else, like
I mean, in the format, like we don't have to like go through with a red line and change their
Oh.
grammar and things.
No, you don't have to actually go in and correct anything. You just simply remark, this I went over in the peer review. You just write something like, so Sam, based on the peer review presentation I gave last week, what kind of peer review response should you be giving to help Kelly with her question?
I know it has 3 letters.
Appreciation, constructive criticism, and evaluation.
Yes. So yeah. So basically you would say, John, you did a great job with whatever he did. Oh, your thesis statement. So find some kind of compliment. Then the next one, areas of improvement. Oh, you know, John, you really need to, your paragraphs are too long. And so the teacher wants you to have 5 to 7 sentences. You have like 20 sentences in each paragraph. That's way too long. But overall, I love your essay structure. So so here I have, it's like a sandwich. I have a positive, negative, positive. And so you could put it that way. That's basically when I teach business writing and I teach students, how do I deliver bad news in a business setting? And then they always teach you in the business writing textbook, use the sandwich method, positive, negative, positive. So you can actually go look it up, go Google, how do you deliver bad news in a business setting? And then Google sandwich method, and then you're going to get a gazillion articles about what I just said. You can even Google images, and then a lot of teachers have actually tried to draw, the hamburger drawing, because this method is also used for when I give feedback to you, when you give feedback, and also if you become the boss and you will have to evaluate the other workers, you're not going to say, hey, Sally, you're a lousy worker. Okay, now go back to work. You would say, Sally, you did great and blah, 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 blah. But really, you need to stop talking so much in the office, but Sally, you did something great, blah, 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 blah. So that's basically what I teach for business writing, how to give bad news. And if you ever become a boss, you would already know this. Instead of just heading straight, I had a boss who did that, and she became quite, well, that's a whole nother story. You don't want to be you don't want to be the toxic boss. Okay, so anything else? Okay, so narrative essay, these were all examples, and I just went over that. Comparison country, do you want me to go back? Did I just go too fast?
No.
No, so I became a nurse because reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. Descriptive essay, you use description as examples for your thesis. Los Angeles is a great place to live because of the great beaches, Santa Monica, universities, UCLA, and parks. So here that's since I use example 1, example 2, example 3, then paragraph 2 would be about great beaches, paragraph 3 would be about universities and parks. So it's known as an example essay, it's known as an illustrative essay, and a descriptive essay. All of these in different writing books, but it's all the same thing. Classification essay I already went over. Dental, HVAC, and nursing students attend Fortis College. Then paragraph 2 would be about dental, paragraph 3 would be about HVAC, and then you guys would be paragraph 4. Comparison contrast essay, I will do that later. So childhood is better than adulthood because childhood has no jobs, no responsibilities, and no bills. That's because your parents were doing all the heavy lifting, and they were thinking, oh, I loved it when my parents did all of that for me. Yeah, so, and then a process essay, an essay describing a process. To succeed in nursing school, a person needs maturity, determination, and strength. So basically here, I would get rid of you. Why do we get rid of you? Because that's too conversational. And that means that you're saying, you need to do this. So that's basically why you would say a person, people need maturity, determination, and strength. That's another way of writing your thesis statement. In other words, parallelism, adjective, adjective, adjective. We don't say you need to be mature, determining, and strengthful. Everything has to be adjective, adjective, adjective. Sorry, this one is noun, noun, and noun. Okay, yeah, noun, noun, and noun. So basically adjective, noun, adjective, noun, adjective, noun, or noun, 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 sentence, sentence, sentence. Basically, when you write your thesis statement, it has to be parallel structure. So that's parallel structure. So here's an example of a thesis statement with adjective, noun, noun, and noun. And then cause and effect. The causes of COVID-19 are cause 1, cause 2, cause 3, or the effects of COVID-19 are. And when you write a cause and effect essay, you can see how I'm not even bothering with you and I and me. That becomes third person case because then you're talking about something scientific. Argumentative essay. This is COVID-19 is more serious than the average flu because of the high mortality rate, high transmission rate, and high hospitalization rate. Can you guess that this was written in the year 2020? Boy, have things changed since this was written 3 years ago. COVID-19, maybe we could write long COVID is serious, more serious than the average cold because of these 3 reasons. I think because a lot of people have long COVID now. But basically, then if you're using argumentative, then you're going to have a counter argument. Some people think COVID-19 is just a hoax. Some people think, in other words, you think it's serious, but other people do not think it's serious. Therefore, in your counter argument, you're going to write the other side, then you'll rebut, but the reality is, and then you switch it over into your what you think. So if you can stick in your counter argument and rebuttal paragraph in there, I would make it a 7 paragraph. This would be for week 9. That's what you're going to be doing for your week 9 forum. You'll be writing something persuasive and argumentative. And obviously, definition essay, love can be defined as sacrifice, selflessness, and kindness. And so sacrifice, and I remember a Star Trek episode where the alien asked, but what does human love? What does that mean? And Captain Kirk says, love, and this was actually what Captain Kirk said. I took this from, and he was trying to explain what that was. And the alien was like, Sacrifice? You mean I have to sacrifice myself? Yeah, so basically, that's a whole nother, it was a great episode. So that's a definition essay. And I already, and you have descriptive. So in nursing, you're going to have descriptive writing similar to illustrative example essays. So how many of you have done descriptive writing in nursing already?
I mean,
Not yet.
a little bit, like just in the, like I work in a hospital and like writing out like a report sheet or something like that about describing, you know, this is what happened with this person and here's what happened last night and what they were, you know.
Yeah, so basically, when you write third person case, it's just like if you're writing about your patients. Okay, so that should make it very easy to do third person case. It's just case study. You're taking the point of view of a reporter. What about explanatory writing, causes and effects? Have you written the causes of ailment X and the effects of ailment X are?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Almost.
Almost. What do you mean by almost?
I'm writing my medical terminology notebook, and one of the things that we're doing is writing down the causes of certain diseases, and you know what, I guess, and the effects of them, and then what kind of medication or like a procedure could be done to help that.
No, okay. So when you write an essay, you would write the causes of COVID are, and then you would write symptom A, symptom B, symptom C, and then
Right.
one essay, and then the second essay would be the effects of, would be effect A, effect B, and effect C. So when you start taking a class, that's a cause and effect essay. Analysis writing. Analysis writing is similar to classification, in which you break down something into its parts. That's similar to COVID-19 is more serious than the flu because, or can anybody give me an example of analysis writing? What have you analyzed?
I'm on my first term.
Okay, so analysis writing is considered high order thinking writing. You're going to be doing a lot more analysis writing. Right now, in your first 2 years of college, you're doing more foundational knowledge. That means that you're learning what other people have written, and then you're sort of regurgitating and learning all the new terms. Then when you get to the second 2 years, in other words, your third and fourth year of college, you already know all the medical terms. You already know the parts of the body. You know all the theories relevant to your field. Now you're going to start to contribute something new. That's analysis writing, is as you start to put your footprint into the writing pool and something new that other people haven't thought of yet. Right now, you're still in your first semester. You first have to learn, what did other people wrote? What have other people done first? That takes 2 years. Then the second 2 years is more fun. And the higher you go, the more you get to contribute to that pool of knowledge. Does that make sense? Yes. So argumentative writing, we already did that.
Yes.
Synthesis. Okay, synthesis writing means that you take all the different sources from all your literature review, and then you stick it together into an essay. And these days I heard AI can do that for you. And everybody is so afraid that ChatGPT will do all the thinking and all the synthesis thinking for people, and people just submit. They don't have to do any more synthesis after that. So synthesis is the ability to analyze. So analysis and synthesis is the ability to put all the different disparate parts that you learn from all the medical articles together into one paper. Now, how is this relevant? Well, if you're a medical professional and then Newsweek hires you as a medical consultant, and you have to look at all of the medical data, and then you translate that data into easy English that the average Joe can read and understand. That's known as synthesis writing, because then you have to absorb, you can read all that hard stuff. But if I were to go, Dr. Fauci was on an interview, and Dr. Fauci was sitting next to a doctor in the interview. So to the doctor, Dr. Fauci, you could clearly hear him talk about COVID-19, and he was talking about all of the different medical terms. We could hear him, but we couldn't understand. Then the journalist on the other side couldn't understand what was going on and said, Dr. Fauci, could you say that in easy English we can understand? He said. Then Dr. Fauci turned and said in one sentence, we currently have no vaccine for COVID-19, but the vaccine is now being developed. In other words, all of that. So basically your role is to simplify all that medical gook, and then you translate that into some easy to read article for people to read. So that would be one avenue that you would go for, is being a medical consultant. And that's really funny because he was actually talking to that doctor for at least 5 minutes. And then he turns around and in 1 second, he wrapped it up saying, oh, we don't have a vaccine yet, but we're very close. And then the journalist finally goes, oh, okay, that kind of stuff. A reflection paper means that you sit back and you reflect on how you can improve your job, how you can improve next time you deal with a patient, how can you improve your performance? And then you write down your reflection into a journal. So how many of you have done reflection journals?
Like just writing out your thoughts on a day, basically?
Yeah.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's not specifically a reflection journal, but I've done journaling.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't have time to sit back and reflect because you've got another student. Well, okay, for me, one student comes in, another student comes in, and there's no time to sit back and reflect. Well, I should have done student A better with student B because so many students keep coming in and stuff like that. Usually for me, reflection is before I go to bed, and I might have 2 or 3 minutes to reflect. Well, just like now, I'm reflecting. I really should have told you guys about the third person case in first person. That's an example of reflection where I can do something better the next time. And so they consider reflection writing, and reflection writing was, let's see, during the COVID, I remember they had a nurse, and the nurse says, now that I reflect back, I think that we need a lot more masks. We need a lot more like that, the covering, because
the PPE,
we did not store up enough. And the United States did not have a stockpile of that sort of, and that's why everybody went into COVID naked, literally. And so this nurse said, we're so burnt out and we don't have enough, protective equipment. And on second thought, we should have stockpiled that sort of thing. And we need to stockpile that for future pandemics. So that would be an example of a reflection, reflection writing, or in her case, she was just saying it she looked so tired too. And so this is just the beginning. All right. So here I write about descriptive. Now I'm going to go over each kind of writing. So now I just want an overview of all the writing. So in descriptive writing, you use your 5 senses to get the reader to experience what you experience. You want the reader to experience, didn't I just say that? And so you will so basically that nurse would say something like, when I was in the COVID ward and I could see all of these people were suffering and all of this, we really need everybody. This is in the early stages where they were saying everybody should cooperate, have social distancing and wear masks and that sort of thing. And then as a nurse, you describe what it's like in the war field of the COVID ward. This was in the very beginning. So descriptive writing allows everyone to experience what you experience so they can empathize with what you're going through, and then a call to action to do something about it. And so how do you use, we already went through that. And so and then the next one, explanatory style of writing. In explanatory style of writing, you provide explanations based on purpose or causal nature. As a nurse, you might have to explain the purpose of a patient consent before carrying out any treatment or care, or you might have to explain the meaning of a diagnosis to a patient. An explanation of causal relation may be how smoking caused that patient's lung cancer. A good explanation tells the patient what is going on so the patient knows what next steps to take. In this explanatory style, nurses are often required to give cause and effect explanations, similar to the cause and effect essay. So I talked about many different kinds of essays in different PowerPoint. So I got this information out of a nurse, and I'll tell you what book, so you can read the book. It's about the whole nurses and writing, I got all of this. This nurse wrote about all the different kinds of writing she encountered and how you can succeed in nurse writing in your career. So in the end, I'll give you the book. Here is an explanatory, and this came from the book. So here, an explanatory style of writing would be poorer and poorer people and people with pre-existing conditions have less or harder access to affordable health care. And then what can you do about it? Expansion of Medicaid in most states, creation of laws forbidding insurance from denying people with pre-existing condition insurance, and then the creation of Obamacare. So this tells you how Obamacare was first, the cause and effect of how it was first created. And so that's how you could tell the book might be a bit old, but it gives you a good background on different kinds of writing. And so when do you use causal analysis in your daily tasks? I don't know if I asked you that already. I might have. Sam,
Not me.
not
I mean,
you.
you did. Yeah.
Oh, you're too new. Okay, Sarah.
So like in my job, like in my daily job,
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose if I see somebody and they're like would they have like a low blood sugar and they start like getting shaky and whatnot. So it's like, oh, well, I need to go, this is why this is happening. I mean, I can't explain all the details of it yet, but you know, I need to go and get them like orange juice or something like that. But like just describing to them like, hey, your blood sugar has gone down, so this is why you're feeling this way.
Yeah, it's like when my brother had diabetes, juvenile diabetes, he lost like 20-30 pounds overnight. And then my mother was freaked out, and the nurse had to comfort her saying, oh, I'll give him some water and orange juice. He'll be just fine, or something like, and then she tried to explain it. Of course, my mother just got totally hysterical. It was my father who ended up, understanding everything, but that's another story. So that's cause and effect. Argumentative. In an argumentative style of writing, you make a claim and you back up that claim with credible evidence. And so in order to write an effective argument, you need to have credible sources. And then also another thing I want to talk about is ethos, pathos, and logos. And so ethos is the appeal to credibility. That means that the article was written by an expert. Pathos means appeal to emotion. It means that the writer did a great job using descriptive language to appeal and keep the reader reading. And then logos means that your article has a logical template. Yeah, it's very logical. It's got a thesis statement with a matching body paragraphs. Now, if you're missing any of these appeals, then you end up with a fallacy or illogical argument, such as what you get when you watch a TV ad. When you watch a TV ad, they would say 9 out of 10 dentists recommend Dentyne. And so here you're missing ethos, because what 9 out of 10 dentists? Who are these 9 out of 10 dentists? So being able to use pathos, logos, and ethos will allow you, so you got to have, the article has to have all three, ethos, pathos, and logos, so that whatever you read, you can believe it. So if you read an article and it's missing any of these appeals, then you know that that argument is not logical and it's a fallacy. So we've got three kinds of fallacies. A fallacy of relevance. I'm going to go over this a lot more in week 10. And so basically, when you write an argumentative essay, you have to make sure that it's credible. And we make sure that it's credible by making sure that it has ethos, pathos, and logos, all three of them, in order to, and that's how you gauge if something that you read online or in social media is logical or credible. It also makes sure that whatever you write is logical and credible. For instance, if a president were to tell you, well, you know what, COVID will be done by April 1st, would you believe him?
No.
No. So that's credibility. That means that that statement is false because it lacks ethos. Therefore, so that's what I mean by if it's lacking ethos, or if I were to say you need to contribute to the dog shelter. Look at all those dogs; they're all crying and barking, and they have their fur is coming off. So this Christmas, you should donate to your local shelter. Now you're missing ethos and logos. All that is pathos. Okay, whenever you see anything where you got to contribute to some famine or to a dog shelter, that's pathos. And if it lacks ethos and logos, it's also a fallacy. Most television, what you see on television, are all fallacies of relevance because they make a claim, but they don't back it up with credible evidence, or they cherry pick so all of this is important so that when you write your argumentative essay, you make sure that you use credible sources and that your argument has ethos, pathos, and logos, whatever you write. Okay, and so that means that we will be doing this type of writing in your week 9 posts. So that's it. Example of an argument. Obamacare is necessary because many people with pre-existing conditions would not be able to afford health care. Poor people would not be able to afford health insurance, and a lot of poor people would go bankrupt getting expensive medical care. And then paragraph 2 would be people with pre-existing conditions would be denied health care. And then paragraph 3 would be poor people would not be able to afford health care. And then paragraph 4, more people would go bankrupt getting expensive medical care. Paragraph 5 is the conclusion. Feel free to use this for your week 9 post. Okay, this is an example of a persuasive essay, and you can actually use this for your week 9 post if you want, but not all 3 of you. You're gonna have to decide which one actually gets to do it. Most likely is the person who gets to post first. Whoever posts first gets to keep that topic. And if, let's say, Sarah is the first one to post this, then the next 2 who's too slow cannot do the same thing. So first come, first serve in this case. Whoever is able to be the first one to post gets to have this exact thing. Okay, so that's how it works. Otherwise, everybody else has to be different, because otherwise it turns up and turn it in or something like that. So
like a different argument or a different way to argue.
No, that exact thing. If you want to use that exact example, the first person who posts gets to keep that. Everybody else has to change. They can still write about Obamacare, but they would have to write from a different angle of Obamacare. Okay, so that sort of thing. So when do you use ethos, pathos, and logos in real life?
Let's see.
I mean, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. So anytime you read anything, okay, you have to ask yourself, ethos, appeal to credibility. Is it written by an expert? Okay, pathos. Is it just only appealing to my emotions? Logos. Is it logical? Is it professional? Does it have a lot of grammar mistakes? And who is the author? That goes back to ethos. So logos is how logical is the article? Does it have a thesis statement with body paragraphs? Does it stick to one topic, or does that person jump from topic to topic and you have no idea what they're talking about? That's got to do with peer review. When we do the peer review, we're doing a lot of logos, because we're looking at the structure of the essay and then trying to ascertain, does that person have good essay structure? Because if you don't have good essay structure, your essay doesn't make sense. Therefore, you lack logos. Okay, does everybody make sense? Does everybody understand that? So peer review is basically logos. You're looking for the logos. Ethos, pathos, well, that's when you're watching television and you're thinking, just how much information does that person know? If Robert Redford were to say the environment is in trouble versus a doctor, who would you believe, the doctor or Robert Redford?
Probably a doctor.
Probably a doctor, because Robert Redford, although he's a great activist, but then he didn't major in this. But if they're going to talk about how to be a great actor and be dramatic on stage, who would you, Robert Redford or the doctor?
Robert
Redford, yes. Everybody has their field. It's not like Robert Redford is some flake who doesn't know anything. It just happens to be that medicine is not his, expertise. His expertise is being on stage and making a good movie. And he's made a great living out of it, okay, doing that. So in an analysis, so analytical style, in an analysis, you take a topic and break it down into its components. This is very similar to the classification essay, where you classify your topic into different groups or categories. Analysis is the art of taking something apart to examine its constituent parts. If a toddler is given a new toy, the toddler will take apart the toy to see how it works. You do the same with your topic by examining whether your topic reflects old ideas or new ideas. You also can take your topic apart to examine if it has ethos, pathos, or logos, or if it has. So when we're taking something apart with ethos, pathos, and logos, we are doing an analysis. So once you see that the argument has all three appeals, and by the way, Aristotle is the one who came up with ethos, pathos, logos. They're the three pillars of persuasive writing. And so once you see the argument has all three, then it is a valid argument. But you have to take the argument apart to see if it is credible or not. So that is the analytical style of writing. In my other classes, I actually give students a presidential speech, and I would ask them, does it have ethos, pathos, or logos? Now, in your field, you would be looking at a medical, let's say you look at somebody's experiment. You have to ask yourself, does this experiment have ethos, pathos, and logos? I will also go over how can you tell if someone's paper experiment is valid or invalid? How can you tell if someone's experiment is something to be believed? So that is in my week 11 lecture. It's got to do with sampling. But how can you tell? So that in your field, you'll be asked to look at a lot of literature review of all the different treatments of a certain ailment. And then you have to discern which of these articles are good articles to be peer reviewed, to give a positive like A, and which one is a thumbs down. And there is a process in which you go through that. And I will do that when I go over how to write and analyze a science paper. So that's like a week 11 or something like that article. So I'll do more about analytical style and how to break down a science paper. And also, this is a really good book for you guys. Can you see the book?
No.
No, it's covered like with the green screen.
Oh, APA.
Yeah. A little bit. To some reason, it doesn't quite, it's called APA Simplified, APA Style Simplified by Bernard C. Bynes, Writing in Psychology, Education, Nursing, and Sociology. Okay, so I guess you could see it a little bit, but this is a really good book that teaches you how to write in very, very thoroughly a science paper and how to use APA for nursing. Okay, so that's a very good book, and I haven't had time to finish it, but I did. But when I wrote my science paper, it broke it down just the way I learned it when I had to write my science paper for linguistics, in my case, applied linguistics. So I already did this already. Okay. So how do you use, we already did analysis. Oh, and so when I do classification as a teacher, I categorize my students into audio learners, visual learners, or kinesthetic learners. So like I say, analysis involves taking something apart into its components. And then you can tell how old this is. How did we categorize people to take COVID-19 vaccine? Back then, this was current. Let's see, do you remember old people had to take the vaccine first? Then people who were, I don't remember, middle-aged took it.
Yeah, or sick, someone with underlying conditions.
People with underlying
Workers.
people who were nurses and healthcare workers got to go next. And teachers also, I think I was in the 4th category down, teachers. So I got in the number 4, and then the bottom of it was young people. That would be number 10. So out of 10, I was number 4. Nurses was like number 3, and old people was like number 1 and 2. Old people and people with pre-existing conditions was number 1 and number 2. And then you guys 3, and I was number 4. In other words, not me in particular, but teachers who have to work in a classroom, those teachers, face to face with 100 people in a lecture hall, all breathing inside. Those were the teachers who got to go number 4. Anyway, so how do we categorize? But in my other school, not this one, I do have to teach face to face. So that's how come I needed it number 4, because then after this school, I then have to drive over to another school, and then everybody is breathing. No, I'm just kidding. And so that's how do we categorize people to take this? That's why these notes are kind of old. So that's analysis. Evaluation style of writing. So evaluation is the result of judging the value or merit of an argument through support reasoning. We evaluate things when we compare or contrast one thing, people, or idea to another. So something is worse or better than another based on certain criteria we set. And so the comparison contrast essay we are going to do for our essay 2. So most students evaluate that childhood is a much freer, simpler time than adulthood, which is filled with responsibilities. So in healthcare, evaluation is crucial to make sure if an intervention is successful. So I think somebody left. I don't know who left just now. But anyway, so Sarah, so
I'm still here. My video
what
just
kind,
stopped.
what kind of evaluation do you do at work?
What kind of evaluation do I do? Well, I mean, see if people can walk by themselves, if they're able to like clean themselves, if they can, you know, whether they're, you know, cognitive and alert or not, or if I can believe what they're saying, that kind of stuff.
And Kelly, how do you use evaluation on your job?
I'm an LPN at a hospital, so I have to do head to toe assessments and evaluate their respirations and vital signs and watch for contraindications to medications if they're having, like if they're starting to build up fluid because they're getting too many IV fluids and they start getting puffy, I have to notify the doctor. It's just,
Yeah, for a teacher, it's evaluating if I have a lot of beginner writers, if I have a lot of advanced writers. If I have a lot of beginner writers, then I've got to do more explanation and talk slower. If I have a lot of advanced writers, then I'm going to have to find harder material to challenge those writers. Usually I want to stick in the middle. And so I also look at my students to see if they're bored, overwhelmed, or whatnot. So that's what I miss about when I teach online, is I don't get to see their eyes and get to tell what, because then I can intervene faster. So those are some of the ways in which, and they call that needs analysis in education, is you have to evaluate the needs of each class, which is like its own culture. So basically, that's how I have to do it in evaluative writing. We evaluate if we wash our hands more often so we can control the spread of COVID. However, if we do not wash our hands or if we do not social distance, we are more likely to spread COVID. So you could just tell that I need to update this file. Yeah. Anyway, so that's a evaluation.
it's still relevant.
It's still red. Do you guys still have to wear the PPT and stuff
Yeah.
for nursing?
For COVID and like other diseases and stuff, but we don't have to wear it all the time anymore.
At my hospital, we do.
All the time?
At Cookville Regional, we have to
Yeah.
wear it all the time. Not the gowns, but the mask. We have to always mask.
Oh yeah, we don't have masks anymore. We just got rid of them, I don't know, a few
Oh.
months ago.
UCLA Medical, they're still wearing their masks. And for some, depending on the department, some people are still wearing the whole thing. But it depends, goes from department to department and what department you're in. But everybody's still wearing masks.
Yeah, not at West Florida. We don't wear them anymore unless we're going into a room with some kind of contagious disease.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We have flu is high right now and RSV. So
Yeah, I think that it was so unreal, the whole COVID thing. That's why I thought anybody who can work in COVID conditions, they're heroes to me. Did you guys all work during the COVID? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I worked a lot of overtime. I got pulled down to the COVID unit twice a week, probably.
I was in a COVID unit for about a month and a half in June of 2020.
I was so afraid of doing the face-to-face, but I was lucky. Our college shut down during most of the COVID. So I remember I went online, but for me, I've been teaching online since 2005. So it wasn't a big deal. Oh, you should have seen the other faculty who've never done online teaching. Wow, you should have seen the panic. how do you do this? How do you do that? Oh, it was, oh my God, especially, and I remember I got asked a gazillion questions. Hold on, let's do this.
You have to teach your class to the teachers.
Well, a lot of the older teachers, they'd never done online teaching before. So that's why. Anyway, so synthesis writing. So synthesis writing is when you synthesize all the different sources, and I already went over this. So synthesis writing occurs in the advanced level of your college training, such as being a senior in college or a graduate student writing his master's or PhD thesis, because you have to do all of the literature review of all that came before, then create your own unique perspective on that topic. And you synthesize the old to create the new. So that is the essence of synthesis writing. Right now, you're just doing synthesis of what everybody else has written, but it gets a lot more fun when you have to be the one to create something brand new. Because I remember when I was writing my paper for my master's, and I came up with a topic, and then my professor said, oh, that's been done. Then I came up with another topic. That's also been done. That's also been done. It took a long time before finally he said, no, that has not been done. You have a topic for your paper. Right now, you can write about gun control. Now, that's been done a gazillion times, but if you're a graduate student, you cannot do gun control because a gazillion other people have done it already, you see. So it's got to be something that the professor has never heard of. Then it becomes interesting because it totally becomes your topic. You become the expert of a topic nobody else knows about, you see. And so if you're going to do a vaccine for COVID-19, I mean, a vaccine that covers all the variants, for instance, that's hard. Okay, they still haven't done a flu vaccine. It's like a dream. I don't know how much of a dream that is. Is that like a pipe dream, do you think?
I don't think so.
Some people do, some people don't. All right, so that's got to do with synthesis. All right, and so I remember when finally my professor said, yes, you've got a topic. And I was like, yes, finally something. No, but I'll go over my MA science paper in the week 11, I think, when I go over how to write a science paper. But yeah, it's got to be something unique and original. That's what makes graduate writing exciting. And here you have an example, the following of synthesis. So this is how it looks like when you actually do the writing. To support the decision-making process on patient care, evidence-based practice needs to be systematic, both in the quality of data and its examination. Stewart, 2001. In this way, evidence-based practice is key to justifying healthcare expenditures. Chapman. However, barriers to best practice through uninformed clinicians can hinder progress, jeopardizing health outcomes for patients. Despite easily accessible systematic reviews in reliable repositories, such as the Cochrane database, this suggests that clinicians could make more use of evidence-based research to inform their decision-making. Basically, in easy language, this is your job I would be the journalist going, okay, what did that mean? And then you're the expert that's going to tell me what does that mean?
It's basically just telling you how to give patient care. It should be based off of like what other people have done before, and then take from that and go about what's the best way to go about it from there. Take the best and use it.
And also it says that if you don't understand how to do evidence-based research or how to base your decisions on the evidence, then you hinder progress. Jeopardy. In other words, if you just sit there and look at the patient and just go, yeah, and then you just, anyway, so that hinders, because then you've got to ask a senior nurse, how exactly do I evaluate his condition? So basically that takes more time to train someone. That's what it says. So if everybody knew about evidence-based practice, then it would make diagnosis so much faster. That's what they're saying. Okay, so that's basically the evidence-based research and evidence-based analysis. So everybody should learn that concept because some people have no clue. they're saying, people coming into nursing. I don't know how could you come into nursing and not know that and get your degree, your license, all those classes you've got to take. You would think that in those classes, they would have gone through this as a kind of ABC. But anyway, so this is about synthesis. So when you write a research paper, you have to read many sources, blend these sources together. And so what topic do you want to write about for your week 9 persuasive essay?
Don't know yet.
Okay, you can go to the procon.org website to figure that out. Reflective writing. uses
Procon?
all- Yeah, procon.org. Yeah.
Like TROCON.
Yes. Yes. So you can go
So,
and
so the persuasive means we're supposed to write a letter or a essay persuading somebody to do something? Is that what that means?
there are 3 kinds of persuasive papers. That's one of them. A persuasive essay could be a take a position persuasive essay where you simply take a position on something. Then you have a persuasive essay 2, a call to action persuasive essay, where like Martin Luther King in his I Have a Dream speech, he wanted to call to action everyone not to be racist. So that's an example of call to action persuasive essay. Then you have a problem solution essay where you state the problem and then provide solutions. So there are actually 3 kinds of persuasive essays I will be describing in the week 9 persuasive essay post or lecture. So that's something to think about, which persuasive essay for week 9 you want to write about. So getting back to this, so you would have reflective writing. And reflective writing uses all these kinds of writing skills to determine a course of action. A nurse intervenes in the ER and has to make quick decisions. And so here you would have, this came from the book, stage 1. And then you said description of the event, who, what, where, when, why, feelings and thoughts. What were you thinking? What were you feeling? What do you think about it now that, in other words, after the intervention is over, you sit down and keep a journal of what you did, and you write down what you think you could have done to be better. And that's stage 3, evaluation. What was good or bad? What did or did not go well? Stage 4, analysis. On my final placement, why in the accident and emergency department? Where as a 3rd year? When student nurse? Who? I observed a patient. What? Having a cardiac arrest. Shock, anxiety, upset, unsure what to do, fear, feeling inadequate. The patient survived. Family were upset. Communication with the family was poor. Resuscitation process was calm. So basically you go over all the different steps that you took in your intervention, in your interaction with the patient and its family, and you try to figure out how you can improve for next time. For a teacher, it's how I can better teach a lesson, how I should have put the 3rd person case into my week 1 quiz prep. In other words, after we go over the week 1 quiz prep, then I mention to students, and also when you write your essay 1, you really should use 3rd person case, like that's the Kelly idea. Yeah. So that's going to be, yeah, she's been immemorialized. Yeah. So here, more about stage reflective, stage 5, conclusion, synthesis. What could you have done differently? Have you developed insight into your behavior? Stage 6, what could you do in the future? And then here, so that's why it's good to read the book, because I just took a screenshot of it, of reflective style of writing. And there's a
I just
whole
thought.
chapter. Yes.
I saw it on Amazon. It's 38
Oh, yeah.
bucks.
It's not this book. It's yet another book. I will tell you in a second.
Oh, okay.
So this is an extra, more about the exercise. What could you have done differently? Here is an example activity. Which items should you record? You are caring for Miss Davenport, an elderly lady who is in a very confused state. Her neighbor comes in to visit and tells you the following. Miss Davenport is devoted to her 2 cats, which the neighbor is currently feeding. She has a son in America, and she provides a telephone number for him. She has several falls over the last few months. Miss Davenport has told her neighbor that she is frightened of doctors. She does not drink tea or coffee. So which items should you record? How would you deal with a patient like this?
Well, I mean, you would record all of those. They're all important, but like there's levels of importance. Like everybody should know, you know, she's had a lot of falls over the last few months. So like if you go into the room and she starts getting up by herself, then you need to be nearby just in case.
Yeah, and then call to action would be, do you think she needs to go to a nursing home? Do you think she needs somebody in her house? What her son needs to be told all of this as well. And then most likely it'll be one of you guys you're the medical expert. And so the book said that since you're the medical expert, if the doctor's not there, the patient looks to you as if you're the doctor, and you provide based on this scenario, which item you would record all of that. And there was more, but I couldn't fit it into. So basically, when we reflect back on an event, we use description, explanation, analysis, argument, and synthesis in our thinking. We reflect back on the whole event. Reflection represents the highest form of thinking and writing because it combines all the different types of writing into one reflection, retrospective. This is why reflection often occurs at the end of an event, or in this case, the end of the class. So in other words, how did you like this lecture so far? And this means when I write conclusion, this is the last, you know. So in nursing, you use all of these thinking, writing skills on the job. Normally, you do it all at the same time, automatically, without realizing it. For instance, when a teacher makes a report, she describes the state of the student in an explanation. She has to make a causal analysis. Then she has to break up what is wrong into components. This is especially valid when dealing with special ed students. So if I'm dealing with a special ed student, then I'm crossing over almost into your territory because the special ed student has special needs, such as certain allergies, certain like mental conditions, certain things excite him. You got to avoid those triggers. Then you've got to figure out what would motivate him to learn. And then in my case, how can he keep up with the regular class, mainstream class? Is he a visual learner, kinesthetic learner? And then how do we get past his autism and his other conditions? So then in this case, when for special ed teachers, they have to have some nursing and medical expertise as well. So if you are a nurse, you could probably transition into special ed, not without much difficulty, because you already have all that medical expertise. I have a friend who does that, and she has students who kick her, bite her all the time. And of course, as a nurse, I've talked to some nurses who have had patients who kick them and bite them all the time. So I'm like, I would remember thinking, well, I guess, you know, if you're tough enough to be, because I remember my professor saying, okay, students, you're at the end of your teaching credential program. How many of you want to continue on and become special ed teachers? 6 more months. And everybody, out of 20 people, 2 people had the guts to raise their hands to say, yeah, everyone else was like, oh, I don't know, all that biting and all that, not for me and stuff like that. So it takes a special kind of person to be a nurse and also to be special ed. So if you are tough enough to be a nurse, then special ed is not that far off for you. That's what I'm saying, you know, a lot of it would transition over. And so when we write or act on the job, we are using all of the rhetorical modes of writing: explanation, description, cause and effect, evaluation, comparison, contrast, analysis, synthesis. And we have to think of old ideas from multiple perspectives to come up with a new action or idea. And the reflection is where you see all 4 styles at once when you record what you see for your patients and devise a call of action. And here you have, voila, that's the name of the book, Healing June, How to Write Well, a Guide for Health and Social Care Students, retrieved February 14th, 2021 at the LIRN website. So you can actually, now you know why we have references at the end of your paper, so that people like you who want to know more can then go off and buy the book. This is why we put references at the end of our paper, so that, oh, I'm so interested in what you wrote. Where can I find more information? And then you would say, well, you could go to this source, because that's where everything came from. And that's why we have a reference. That's as an aside for people who are still watching. Most people fall asleep within 10 to 15 minutes of a lecture. So that's why I always recommend that are you done writing the notes for this?
Yes.
I always recommend that people watch 10 minutes at a time of somebody's lecture. Then you go off, and the next day, another 10 minutes and another 10 minutes. Within 3 days, you can finish somebody's lecture at top attention. Okay, instead of falling asleep within 15 minutes and it all goes by, and then you don't even ever have the time to finish the end of someone's lecture. So I always, for me, when I watch someone else's lecture, I do about 10 to 15 minutes per whatever it is I'm watching. Even exciting movies, I can only do 10 to 15 minutes. That's how bad I've gotten with,
Oh,
so,
it's worse with my husband. It's 2 minutes.
Oh, my father is like that. We would go to the theater and he would just fall asleep, snoring loudly that everybody can hear. It's not bad if you could sleep without any snoring and you're quiet, but nah, everybody, they had to say, sir, could you wait outside? Because he was snoring so loudly that the guy who was in charge, and he didn't bother my father at all. And he went outside on the couch and he fell asleep. And I go, why do you bother coming to the theater if you're just going to fall asleep anyway? So do you have any questions? So next week, we're going to go over, next week we'll go over the week 7 quiz. And
Okay.
it'll be your very last quiz for this class. So are you excited about that?
Yes. I do have a question. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
For the discussion for today. Because I made a cover letter, kind of, whenever I made it.
Right? Oh.
Do I need to put the cover letter as well in the just to make sure I have all the information that I just put from introduction to conclusion whenever I do my discussion today?
Oh yeah, so if you do the discussion, let's see, to this week's discussion, yeah, all you have to do is just write your rough drafts. You have your introduction, your 3 body paragraphs, and your conclusion.
Okay,
So
so the one that
Oh,
we
go ahead.
did for last week, I just
Yes.
posted on this one.
Yes,
Okay.
correct, yes. And then everybody will peer review your paper and then give feedback. And so, yes, you can say something like, you know what, you didn't put your thesis statement in the correct place, or your thesis statement's not very clear. What exactly are you talking about? What's your main idea? So that's why it's so important to have a good thesis statement, or else nobody knows what you're talking about. That sort of thing.
Alright.
And when we revise our paper, we always look at the essay structure first. And then if the essay structure is good, then after that, you correct for grammar and punctuation and APA.
So
Any other
next week, we're doing like our actual essay with the cover page and everything, right?
Correct, yes. Week 6, you're gonna hand in the final draft of your
I've been
paper.
having the cover page.
And that's gonna count as your midterm grade
Okay.
Okay.
for this class. So any other questions?
Wait, so if that's the midterm grade,
Oh,
sorry, do we have an exam coming up or no?
no, no, it's just that week 7 quiz, that's it.
Okay, okay, copy, thank you.
Yeah, you have 1 more quiz and you're done. No more tests, and everything will just be writing. For me, tests are hard, but writing is easy. Writing is fun. Tests
Yes,
are
it's fun.
I-
I'd rather
I'd
write
rather-
than take a test.
I'd rather write if, and when I take a class, I am always scared of all the tests, but then writing is so much fun. I guess
Yeah, I'll
that's-
go, yes.
So
That's
for that research paper in week 9, are we gonna have a couple weeks to flesh it out like we are on this one?
I'm sorry, something happened. What did you say?
The week 9 persuasive paper. Are we gonna have a few weeks or a couple weeks to flesh it out, like with the
Yes.
outline? And
Oh, no. For
Doing
the week 9 paper, all you have to do is just write a post where you have, so that only occurs once. The week 9 thing.
It's just a discussion post on actual assignment.
Yes, it's
Okay.
not,
So the
yes, it's just a post.
persuasive essay is not an essay?
It is an essay, but it's an essay that you're gonna write in your week 9 discussion forum. You'll
So we
see.
have, yeah,
You'll
I was
see.
gonna say, we have another essay that we're actually gonna, like, it's an
Yeah,
actual
so right
assignment, but
now-
not that one.
You're gonna be writing 3 things in this class. You're gonna be writing the narrative essay, which you've already finished. Then you're gonna do your week 9 post. It's just that 1 week, just that 1 post, then you're done. Then you're going to go through the writing process with your comparison contrast essay, in which week 8 will be the outline, and then week 7 and 8 will be the outline. No, sorry, week 7 is the pre-writing, week 8 is the rough draft, and week 11 and 12, you're going to do, it's all the same thing. So week 7, 8, 11, 12 are all, it's all going to be essay 2.
Right, and 11 is going to be like the peer
9
review,
and
and
10
then
is
12 is.
9 and 10 is going to be something else. So don't forget about 9 and 10. So 7, 8, 11, 12, and I don't know why they wrote it this way. So that's just the way the school designed the class. So remember 7, 8, I know, like, right. So 7, 8, 11, 12, that's going to be your essay 2.
Copy.
And then 9 and 10 is going to be APA exercise, and 9 is going to be your persuasive essay. That's it. That's it for the class. So do you have any other questions? Okay, all right. So my recorder just told me I have a full disk. That means that I talk too much, make too many videos, and I have to now delete, so that my computer can fit more videos. So if you have no more questions, we can end it for this week, and I will see you all next week with the week 7.
See ya.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, bye.